The Tavern at the Sun Inn is exactly what it should be, and that is a house of entertainment in the city of Bethlehem that reflects on the history of what was here, but also progresses into the modern age. You know, we've got a museum in the building. We also have a modern restaurant and bar. We're trying to make it the place where you're welcome, just like a city tavern used to be back in the day. The Sun Inn in general was a tavern that was built by the Moravians back in the late 1750s as a house of entertainment sanctioned by King George. It became well known throughout the colonial period as one of the best taverns out there. That's why you had many of our founding fathers: John Adams, John Hancock, Nathaniel Greene, Marquis de Lafayette, 5 presidents, that includes George Washington, and other dignitaries stay here. You walk into the museum floor, which is restored back to what it looked like in the 1760s. So if you come in, you'll find the Gaststube, which is the guest space where guests were entertained. You'll find a working suite, which was one of the reasons why many influential people stayed here. You'll find a colonial kitchen on the museum floor. Downstairs, we have our Rathskeller, which is our colonial drinking cellar. Then upstairs, we have 2 dining rooms, as well as our tavern bar. We worked really hard on this room in that it was pretty blank when we got in here, and we wanted it to be as reflective of the period as we could be with a modern twist of an actual bar. So we did the beadboard on the front. The flags and whatnot are all of the colonial era. All the pictures in the room are of individuals that have stayed at the inn. The building in and of itself is a museum, a restaurant, a tavern, and is the future home to our micro distillery tasting room, Christmas City Spirits.
Joining me at the bar is author Mark Will Weber, author of the book Mint Juleps with Teddy Roosevelt about presidential drinking. And Mark, you're going to be appearing here at the Tavern at the Sun Inn to talk about your books and how the presidents drank. Let's start with the first president, President Washington. What did George Washington prefer?
Well, Washington is one of the few presidents that I claim alcohol actually improved. And I say that because the knock against Washington is that he was sort of a cold, standoffish kind of guy. But when he had a couple glasses of champagne or Madeira or a dark beer called porter that he liked, he would loosen up and he'd become quite gregarious.
And porter was one of his favorites, right? Which we have a sample here.
And the Yards Brewery in Philly actually makes a pretty good rendition of what Washington was drinking back in the day. And
moving to the 20th century, another very popular president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he liked his alcohol as well.
Well, Roosevelt really loved cocktails. He used to like to make his own. He was, by most stories, he was pretty bad at it. He would just dump this and that. But he also liked something called the rum swizzle, which we have here. And the rum swizzle, even though it again dates back in the colonial days, he liked to drink those when he'd go yachting, you know. So, but when he played poker, he liked to drink beer. So.
Well, there's tons more to know about presidential drinking and the drinking of the generals during the Civil War, and you can learn it all here at the Tavern at the Sun Inn on Wednesday, April 18th, with author Mark Will Weber.